Welcome to the It Crowd podcast. My name is Josh Lowrey. We are coming to you from the Piper Sandler Energy Conference in Las Vegas, the 26th annual Piper Sandler Conference, which is amazing. I've been coming to this for over 15 years. I'm joined with the co-host extraordinaire, Mr. Richard Rodriguez. How are you, Richard?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm
good
doing
to catch up again.
It is. Yeah, we're running into each other at pretty great events. It's Florence, then it's the Daniel Energy Conference, and now it's the Piper Sandler Conference.
Exactly.
These are great places to run into each other. So, but this is the 26th annual year of this event. Have you been to this before?
Oh yeah, for sure.
This is one of the better energy conferences and private public investor conferences that we go to, isn't it?
The lineups are always good.
Yeah.
It's not the same regurgitated information and same panels. So this is one that everybody wants to be here.
Speaking of that, speaking of everybody wants to be here, we have Mr. Everybody wants to be here. I asked him, Brian Uhlmer is the CEO of EKU Power Drives. Welcome, Brian.
Thank you.
And Brian is one of my favorites. He's one of everybody's favorites here. And what's cool about this is, it's a pleasure to see you, by the way. It's a pleasure to have you on the show. And I've known you a decade probably now at least.
At least,
yeah.
Yeah.
And I was getting ready to kind of prep you for the show. And I'm like, you've been on a podcast. And as soon as I said that out loud, I'm like, Josh, the first time you ever saw Brian, he was on CNBC. So you're very familiar with these types of, we are low rent compared to some of your history in the past. So.
Don't sell yourself short.
I don't sell
You're
myself
an incredible
short.
slouch.
Yeah, that's right. But Brian, thank you for being a guest today. How are you, sir?
I'm doing amazing. I'm really surprised. I've been coming to Vegas for decades and first time going to bed at 10 p.m. in Vegas, so I feel amazing.
You feel
today.
great?
I feel great. I don't know what's going on.
See what
right
happens
now.
tonight.
I don't know what's going on. Yeah.
I've lost my pen, but we're on our own. We'll figure it out later. So, listen, this conference is not one for the faint of heart. First of all, they don't take any breaks in there. They are on thank you, brother. They're on a 30-minute intervals where they are no breaks. You eat lunch, you come out, you get your lunch, and you go back in there. They are fireside chat, panel discussion from 8 a.m. till 5 p.m. for 2 straight days.
Yeah.
So this is not where you want to be out really past 10 p.m. I would say. So well done for everybody. I actually flew in this morning. I'm probably the most tired of anybody, to be honest with you. But
Get it together.
I'm together. All right, Mr. Olmer, let us begin. Just if you don't mind, I've already pumped you up with. You're the only one of the three of us that's ever been on CNBC. So other than being famous or more famous than me currently, what can you tell us how you got started in this business?
Oh man.
How did you get here today?
It's been a long and storied career for me.
Yeah.
I started actually working as a chemical engineer, and almost all the work that we were doing when I got out of college was designing export facilities in Africa. So worked on Skeekta up in Algeria, worked on Bonny Island, Nigeria, and then all the work we were doing was developing regas in the U.S., so getting LNG to the U.S. Okay. So at that point in time, we were going to run out of natural gas in the U.S.,
Correct.
And we had to go buy it all internationally. And we did project after project, and then those all went away. So, that got me to this area where I was an engineer, and I realized I wasn't really as smart as most engineers. There were some really, really talented people that were a lot smarter than me. So they said, Brian, go into sales. Okay. So I started doing business development internationally, really enjoyed that, and then loved working with banks and institutions. So I said, hey, I'm going to go to Wall Street for a little while. So I spent about 9 years on Wall Street. Got tired of Wall Street. It was, just a grind, a lot of work. Conferences like this all the time, hosting them, taking people around, speaking with CEOs, and said, man, I want to get back into the side of developing and building companies. So went back to the industry, tried a new technology that didn't actually work out too well, but it was really, really interesting. Worked with some really smart guys there as well, and then got hired on to start a little frac company with a group out of West Texas. Grew that thing and loved my time there, enjoyed that like crazy. We were the fastest growing frac company ever. Went from inception to IPO in 4 years, and really learned a lot there. And then from there, went on to try a couple of new things that were okay. Another small frac company, and then while I was at the other frac company, we bought this company called EKU. They were a bunch of German guys, some of the smartest engineers I've ever met. So technically sound. They start out, they actually had a world record for the fastest acceleration of any car ever in 2014. So, I mean, guys that are wicked smart. And when I met them right away, I was like, oh my gosh, I need to get to know these guys. And then Corona hits. So their business is not doing great. I come in from ProFrac side and we buy the company.
I like that you're still calling it Corona. That's coronavirus. You skipped COVID, skipped 2020, just Corona.
I usually just call it the Rona. Well, this is a professional podcast. So I mean, the Rona happened, you know. So we ended up buying them, and I mean, they're all over our IPO, their technology, everything they're doing. And after I departed there, they've been working for ProFrac, working directly with the frac company, and then on the power gen side, design the e-frac, design all the controls, the automation for the power side of the business to support e-frac. Well, they've got this great product, this great IP, but you're inside of a frac company. So your competitors aren't going to buy your product because you own their data. Right. You have so much access with what we do. And even though, of course, it's full integrity of that data, it's just hard to make that sale. Sure. So ProFrac spun them off last year and immediately got some orders for power supply systems for some of the frac competitors who are going into power. And the guys called me and said, hey, would you like to rejoin us? We'd love to have you on the team and become the CEO. And I consulted for him for a little while because I have a great owner at my other spot. We formed a transition plan where I'm still a director at that company and helping out that company because the owner over there is just incredible.
Awesome.
Amazing guy, great integrity. So I moved into a director role and then became the CEO here at EKU.
Okay.
Awesome.
And tell us what EKU does.
So EKU, at its heart, is a software, hardware, automation, and controls company.
Okay.
We do develop the hardware for controls, build our own controllers and control boxes. That's kind of the soup and nuts part of it, but the real technology is behind how we automate and how we integrate systems. Most important thing we do is we are an OEM-agnostic control system. So if you're running a Waukesha engine, you've got a battery backup, heck, you may be hooked to solar, you may be hooked to grid, and how we manage those loads is extremely, extremely difficult. Why it's so important in the data center world that a lot of people are going after is if you think about a data center. I'm going to steal this from Nathan Off at VoltaGrid, said this a couple weeks ago at the Daniel Energy deal.
Right.
A data center is similar to switching all the power on and off in Denver every 7 seconds. That much load comes in, goes out, comes in, goes out. So you have massive transient loads. Transient loads are extremely hard to manage. If you're driving a car or you've got a bunch of frac pumps, a transient load, you just push the pedal up and down. It's completely different in power. You've got all these different engines, you've got battery systems, and you're trying to manage who's going to provide load right now, and when load stops, what do? You don't just turn a turbine off. You don't just turn an engine off. So to control all of that, you need a really good software, hardware, and automation system. The only spot that you've ever seen that in the world in larger scale is in e-frac. We've got 35 to 50 megawatts power and pumps. You frac a stage, the pressure goes up, you got to increase your load, then all of a sudden you break through, pressure drops, you frac, then frac ends and it goes 35 megawatts to 2. And all you're doing is powering your backside. So those crazy load spikes are something that we've seen in frac and we've designed for, which makes the energy sector and the oil service sector the best sector to go after the data center power, which I think a lot of people ask that, like why would Solaris end up in this business?
Yes.
Right? Because they know oil services. They know power oscillations. They know demand load differences. VoltaGrid, they've been powering e-frac for Halliburton for years.
Have you seen the pin that David DeRote is wearing this week? I thought it was a charity.
Which one is it?
He's got a little circular pin that I thought was a charity, and it said, I kind of looked at it, I said, what are you wearing? It says, data centers love oil and gas. Seriously.
That's amazing.
I mean, only DeRote would wear that.
Yes.
But it is, you're saying what he and the pin are saying is that, look, we are tied together with data centers now forever.
Forever.
Yes.
And yeah, if you want a low emission outside of, I was talking to a nuclear guy last night, it's like, oh yeah, we got a modular nuclear. I was like, okay, when are we looking at first revenues? Oh, probably 7 to 12 years.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So, to power these and get the reliability that you need.
Yeah.
And 99.99 or 98, depending on the center, is pretty good reliability. I mean, it's like the reliability of an RO showing up to work. Like 99.98% of the time, he's there at 8 a.m., smile on his face, right? And you know, to hit that.
Don't call him during rodeo season, but other than that, he's pretty good. He's really.
But yeah, to hit that, you're not going to do it with solar. You're not going to do it with wind. You've got to have massive battery backup systems. And as we saw with the pledge last week, the State of the Union, it's got to be behind the meter. We can't push up the price of electricity.
Right.
And then, yeah, because the NIMBY crowd comes in, the electricity crowd comes in. And one thing, you know, what's he, Secretary of Energy now, Chris Wright.
Yep.
I mean, at Liberty, they were always saying, right, like better human lives. Like without natural gas and low-cost electricity, we're harming the world.
Right.
And so we don't want to be the ones, the cause of the harm. We want to be the ones that are the solution to this. And that solution is behind the meter, taking natural gas, integrating it with every power supply, and tying us to everyone that wants to look at TikTok all day long.
Well, that's me. But, you know, you mentioned right before we came on air, you mentioned Kyle speaking a minute ago about.
Yep.
Do you want to comment on that, on how they go from using one power gen set to another? Is that something that
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
They made it public, so I think we can.
Yeah, now we can talk about it, right? Yeah. Well, and we'll also, we had an announcement last week of someone that's been nothing but Caterpillar for years. And they announced that they're buying a ton of Jenbacher engines. So Jenbacher's owned by NEO, Caterpillar's, those engines are owned by Caterpillar. They don't access each other's control systems and ECMs. That's their proprietary data. So how are you going to manage those two working together? We need a third party like us to do it. Kyle is a perfect example. They've been also Solar turbines owned by Caterpillar, and then they just announced that they're buying Baker turbines. Mm-hmm. They have different curves on them. They have different ways they derate. So to control them and have them synchronize for your load, you're going to need a control system on top of that. The OEMs don't want to get in that game. They need someone specialized that can go, okay, I can work with any one of these systems and control all of them. Waukesha has no interest in designing control systems that'll work on a Caterpillar engine. It's not they want to make engines, they want to sell engines. Same with Jenbacher or Rolls-Royce or MTU. They don't want to do that. But who does it and who can handle those transient loads that happen in a snap? People have done it in oil and gas. That's where we're specialized versus someone that works for the IPP at the utilities now on the grid. Their technology doesn't match what we do.
Is this your Genesys?
That is, the Genesys is a hardware solution.
Oh boy.
With the
not Genesys, excuse me, your Genesys.
Yes,
oh
like the singer from Kiss's sister, Genesys. Yeah.
That's a great start there.
Don't cut that out.
Yeah.
Make sure that stays in.
At all.
I put the emphasis on the wrong syllable.
Yes, that is our Genesys. The Genesys. Shit.
Don't cut that out.
Yeah, look at that. The Genesys is our switchgear. That's a hardware component.
Okay.
And then the Maximus is a software component that you get all your data. That way you can operate the most efficiently. So when it comes from emissions perspective, natural gas utilization, okay, let's use the battery now, let's use solar now, let's use all these systems on a microgrid and be the most efficient from a profitability perspective, plus the efficiency of your engines. With engines, it's totally different, right? A turbine you crack open every 5 years. Engines, you still need to do, even a natural gas engine, you're still doing filters and changes. So, you're bringing stuff offline, and you want to manage the reliability of that product, so you need a software on top to manage all your data.
Okay.
So are those two solutions, the hardware and the software solution, now that, like today with Solaris, if they were using you, you guys were already integrated into the previous system. Now they're buying Baker. Is it a plug and play solution, or is there more development that has to go into it? Like, how long does that go from, hey, we want the solution, to actually up online?
So with their specific turbines, it would be, it's not entirely plug and play. It'd probably be a 30 to 90 day project to knock it out. So before they even get their turbines delivered and get on site, we're testing it.
Yeah.
Right. So right now, we've worked with the Baker turbines, we've worked with Waukesha, we've worked with MTU, we've worked with Caterpillar, we've worked with battery systems. The founders genesis of where they started the company was in batteries. So they began their careers in batteries and integrating those into systems for transient load distribution.
I mean, so Caterpillar would let you work on their stuff.
We would overlay on top of their stuff.
Okay.
Just like in frac. Think about frac. You've got a controls provider. It could be AMI or Lime or Prime or one of those various controls provider. They can manage a Caterpillar engine for you. They manage the engine, they manage the transmission, they manage the pump, the loop circulation systems. Those all sit on top of that. Caterpillar never wanted to, neither did Cummins or MTU, the three main engine manufacturers in frac. They never wanted to run the controls for the entire system. They want someone else to do that, to control it. And as a customer, or as a frac provider, which I have been, I don't want to rely on them either. I want to know that I can control it, I control my data, see my data, and then where you have a problem is when you see these acquisitions. You see frac companies merge up, and they're like, oh, we have 500 pumps. Okay, well, those 40 pumps can't work with those 40.
Right.
And then when you integrate, you do an acquisition, you do an integration, and you're like, hey, why did this company miss? Oh,
Because they didn't talk to each other.
yeah, because their
Or
op
the
costs
equipment
their
didn't-
op costs went higher,
Right.
or their R&M went higher because they had to repair all this stuff because this equipment couldn't run because they had the wrong control system. That to me is going to be a key part of the growth of this. If someone says I've got a gigawatt in project demand and they don't have a gigawatt in all the same type of equipment ordered, or they get delays. We just saw a delay from a major manufacturer, which I'm not going to name, but they pushed all their orders back 3 weeks. It's like, okay, so the public company who's buying their power from them, and this is, not saying it is a public company, but if you are a public company who's made a promise to the market, now you're going to miss because this one manufacturer can't hit your target. Well, okay, I can just go buy someone. Not if you didn't think about your controls and automation ahead of time. Because if you just go buy someone, now that same window is going to add because you're going to have to redo all their controls.
Right.
So that I think is going to be a key theme next year on the investing side.
Next year, you mean later 26?
Late 26 into 27, when people have said, okay, we're going to have 300 megawatts
You mean just because the
by
demand
Q1.
is picking up? So
Yes. Order timelines are shifting. As you heard from Solaris,
Yeah.
why did they pay 1.7 per megawatt versus 1.3? So the answer was, we needed the slots.
because it doesn't matter.
We needed the
We're
turbine slots.
paying for what's coming.
Yes.
We're betting on the come.
If not, we wouldn't get them until 2030.
Right.
So we had to make an acquisition to get this contract with this data center. And
Man, does that sound familiar?
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
Does that sound familiar?
And I guarantee you, there's people out there pitching customers saying, I will get you your 400
Right.
megawatts.
Does that-
And then they're going back to their boardrooms going, how are we going to get our
How are we gonna
400
get 400
megawatts?
Interesting. This is, so Richard and I kind of have an ongoing, we're on different sides of the AI bubble, if you will.
Okay.
Kinda. I'm of the belief that there is no bubble right now. And
It's a limited bubble. I would say my perspective is it's not so much that there's not going to be power, and it's not so much that there's not going to be a million applications. It's going to be the adoption rate is what ends up pushing that, keeping that from hitting the timeline that people say that we're going to be short on all this power. Now, there's other things that are happening now that are going to drive people to faster adoption that they don't even see right now that's happening. But yeah, that's going to be the biggest determining factor is going to be the adoption rate and how fast it happens.
Interesting.
And
So
my thought is that people are just waking up to what AI is, and they're not going to be able to get enough of it, and they're going to demand. So when somebody goes out and pays 1.7 versus 1.4, that's a good bet to me.
yes. And on adoption,
And real quick, when I said this sounds familiar, it's almost like the frac world 10 years ago,
Yes,
right?
yes,
When I remember people saying, I'll take whatever you have.
yeah, just buy it,
and
buy,
then,
buy,
and
buy,
then
buy.
that
Yeah.
bubble exploded.
Yep.
But that was different. This doesn't feel the same.
Because the demand will still be there.
Correct. That's
That's the difference. Yeah,
Right.
the demand will still be there. But,
For a while.
can you take a massive hit to your stock price
Waiting.
if you're like, hey, we're going to be 6 months late, or we missed this, or
Yes.
the contract got canceled because we couldn't hit our target, we couldn't get the equipment that we needed, and we tried to buy some and then we couldn't integrate them. That's the big risk.
Now I feel like you guys are about to be a big winner.
Yeah. And speaking of AI adoption, when Josh told me, can I do a podcast in 15 minutes? I asked ChatGPT, I said, I got to do a podcast with Josh Lowrey. Write me out some notes. And I've got them in my glasses, just scrolling right here.
You know, I always tell people, so the question I ask people is like, are you using AI? Most people are like, yeah, I am. Most business people that I run into, men and women, okay, you're using it. Is your wife using it? Is your husband using it? Kinda. All right, great. Is your mom using it? No. And the answer, until everyone's saying everyone I know is touching it, that's when I'm like, then we are at an adoption rate that matches what I think the real need and usefulness of AI is.
Right.
It is just, it's going to touch everything it's going to touch everything.
Yeah, and I don't think we're at a bubble yet, because the old adage from 2008 was, unless you're cab driver in Beijing, when he tells you to buy that stock, that's the bubble. Right? Like silver. I shorted silver at 120 a month ago, because my buddy from high school calls me, he's like, oh man, you gotta start buying silver.
Yeah,
and
I gotta know shit about silver.
Yeah, it's time to short it. I mean, Tommy quit the basketball team junior year of high school to smoke weed.
Yeah, he's not your silver guy.
He's not your silver, he's not my commodities expert, right? So,
you know, I asked my grandparents who were born in
Tommy.
1917, right? And I said, my grandmother's still alive, actually. It's amazing. I love her, 98. And I said, Grandma, or actually, that's my other grandma. I go, what is the most incredible thing you've ever seen during your lifetime? And she said, and both her and her husband at the time, my grandpa, they said the television. They didn't bat an eye. They said when the TV came out, it was something like you'd never seen in your life. They go, you just couldn't imagine. In town, there was this box where people were talking to you. They were blown away by it. So I've told that story to my kids. And my son asked, what's the most amazing thing that you've ever seen in your life? And to this point, I think it's the internet. Yeah. I think the internet was just insane with what it could do and what it was. And to my son, who's 15, he's like, well, it's always been here. I'm like, but it wasn't.
It wasn't.
Yeah, it wasn't.
There were dark ages.
Yeah, right? And I think that this, obviously, and I'm not really going on a limb here, what people are seeing today with AI and the usefulness of this AI thing is going to be the most incredible thing people have ever seen in their entire lives.
Without a doubt.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
What it's going to cure and help and do and it's going to change everything.
And the speed of deployment of everything. I get a good example. So when I was rescinding my CEO role and moving to a director role and dispersing what I do, at a small company I do legal and MSAs, and so the guy that's my chief technical officer, smart engineer in his 50s, he's asked me for help on MSAs. And I said, Ron, let me help you real quick.
Yeah.
Here's 7 MSAs that I've signed in the last 4 months. Put all of those in AI and say, hey, here's an example of what our CEO would sign in, all the terms and conditions he would accept. Now take the MSA you just got in there and say, hey, please compare and contrast and provide me with the notes to red line. So you take a 25-page document and you still have to review it post. Okay, what are the notes, what were said, and go through it. But the 4-hour review went to 20 minutes. And he was like, wait, that's all you do? And I was like, yeah, why do you think I could tell Carl, our owner, that, hey, you don't really need me?
Yeah.
Like, I could push a lot of this stuff down, and he had never used it. I mean, this is a
smart guy.
Very smart engineer, and he had never used it. I was like, wait, you don't use this on a regular basis? He's like, no. So
and really, he probably doesn't even know how to, if he got into it today, it would take him, he needs to take a course to learn how to use it properly.
Right. Had I not said here, follow these steps, ask these questions specifically on these terms, right?
Exactly.
My girlfriend uses it all the time. I'll tell you this, AI hasn't figured that out
Sending you text messages. Dear Brian.
How do I get Brian to do more chores? Sorry, AI, you failed.
How does my shopping budget increase?
Exactly.
Oh, man.
No Louis luggage this trip.
So there's a lot of stuff we want to talk about here. What do we want to talk about?
Back to for our audience, back to the product itself. When you've got a hardware component and a software component, you guys are introducing another level of security risk there. How does that work? Does that security risk fall on you guys, or once you deploy the solution, they get the hardware, you deploy the software, does that fall on the customer to then fall in their cybersecurity environment? How do you share that load?
That actually does fall on us.
Okay.
So we control and own the data and where the data goes. It's their data, they own it, but how it migrates through the system to give them their information is on us.
Okay.
So if you're looking at 50 different engines, how they're operating, what speeds, what emissions profile, all of that, that's all through our servers. So that cybersecurity risk is on us. They'll want to run it through, they can though run it through whatever server or system that they request, and we can tie into that. At the heart of our equipment is really, that's what the Genesys is it's a giant switchgear. And it can handle 25 megawatts for each switchgear. And that's what, interestingly, how electricity works is load dependent, right? Mm-hmm. So you respond to load, not vice versa. You don't ramp up to give him electricity, he calls for it. And that system is what is the brains behind that. But in the background, all the data of what each engine or what each turbine or what each battery system is doing, how charged it is, or what node to send power to. If I get a load up and then a load down, and I don't want to burn an engine, how do I drop them or how do I send load? That's all of the data that we have to migrate, and so we have to maintain the cybersecurity behind that.
Gotcha. Okay.
Because if you get into a switchgear and shut that down, then data
everything's
centers
done.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. Or vice versa, you don't take that transient load, you overload it, and then you're really theoretically.
A meltdown of a component is very difficult.
Yeah.
You normally you end up with a bunch of nuisance trips.
Yeah.
Right? It's like when you're in your house and you got your air fryer going at the same time as your microwave, at the same time as your blender, and it's like I'm trying to make French fries on a margarita, and I got a nuisance. It's a nuisance. I got to walk outside. My margarita's not done. If my margarita's done, I don't mind walking around in a breaker panel. But if it's not done, it's a nuisance.
Yes.
So that's a nuisance trip. Those will happen. But if you got to hit 99.98, that you just lost your requirement. And the way that so you've got the hyperscalers that are vertically integrated where they're going to own the power. But a lot of these folks that we're doing are setting up as PaaS companies, power as a service. If they're not hitting that 99.98, there's major remedies for that. So it's going to cost them tons of money, like instantly. You didn't hit your uptime. Boom, here's a penalty, here's a fee. So all of a sudden, all your profitability is diminishing quickly. Like the data centers are really, those contracts are tough.
When you said 99.98 earlier, that's the first time I've ever heard an 8. I mean, really, I've always heard the 4 nines.
I think generally what we see is 99.98, but I'm also not dealing directly with hyperscalers.
Okay.
Hyperscalers, we are working with one right now because they're not hitting their reliability, and they're going to switch their systems to all of our systems, so that they can hit that, because they added 20 engines to actually increase the power load that they had.
20 engines.
Yeah, so 60 megawatts.
Good Lord.
And
Think how much power that is.
Yeah, exactly.
God.
Yeah. Just lined up.
That is unbelievable.
Spinning gen sets,
Yes.
And they weren't hitting their reliability. And they're like, what do we have to do? We're like, well, you actually have everything you need. It's how you're operating and controlling it that's impacting your reliability. And they'll do this massive project just for that.
Can you explain that? So they have everything they need, but what is not working for them?
So in this specific instance, the engines aren't responding quick enough. They aren't responding quick enough.
So this is that whole throttle back.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So most of these natural gas engines that people are using are continuous speed.
Yes.
So how you actually change the voltage is a little bit more difficult than just spinning it faster, right? So you've got different variations of what you can do. And then there's something a little too technical. It's called Droop logic. So one engine is operating at 60 hertz, and it feels a demand pull, and it's going to pull it too high where it would trip it. It'll drop to 59 hertz. Okay. So then the engine next to it knows, oh shoot, I got to pick up. And so it'll pick up the load. And if you're not managing that logic correctly, but think about, this is also a little too technical, but AC currents are sine waves, right? So you have three waves, right? 3-phase AC is 3 sine waves. You have to come in at the same wavelength, at the same spot for that electricity to go to where it needs to match it. So in its simplest terms, you have to match, right? Your belt has to match your shoes, or else, you're going home alone.
Yeah.
Right?
Are you guys working with utilities as well?
No.
Just
No, utilities are giant turbines. They're load man. Think about utility. Like if we're here on this massive grid,
Right.
and we turn off all the lights here, you go, "Eep." Like you don't even see them move. And so their technology is completely different.
Okay.
They handle everything at transformer boxes and all around town, but base grid demand is not that variable. But remember in the storm, Texas 2021,
correct.
when that load went boom, and it was like, what do? We weren't never expecting a load like that, and this thing that's automatically the logic set up to pick up is frozen and won't kick on, and you almost kill the whole system, right? That's what happens at a micro level all the time around data centers or at the beginning of EFRAC, it would happen all the time. People lose power all the time.
Right.
Remember when we first started talking about EFRAC, everyone was like, I don't want to do EFRAC. It's unreliable. Turbines are unreliable.
Yeah,
And it wasn't the turbines unreliable. That turbine can always produce
It's
35
gonna be-
megawatts.
yeah,
It's the control
getting it over there.
of those loads, right? Yeah. And so once we figured that out, it's like, that's exactly what data centers need, is that management. A big grid, no, it's not complex enough.
It can't fit.
On a micro scale.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Right, like the oscillations are much smaller.
Right. It's designed to never have that type of oscillation.
Correct.
I got you. Okay. Okay. And it's also established technology. This is a
Right.
new thing.
Yes.
I would imagine data centers would prefer to be on the grid at all times. They never have to mess with it either, correct?
Yes, but the grid's not designed to handle their load. That's why they can't. That's why they all have backup power.
Makes sense. Because if they
Right.
did that would drive the price of everybody else up. Got it.
Well, not just
Not just
that,
that.
but to hit 99.98, if you've got a big oscillation, you're pulling from the grid, who are you cutting off? If all of a sudden you need an incremental 50 megawatts for 30 seconds. And remember EFRAC, they talked about pulling from grid originally. And it's like, wait, the city of Midland can't give 50 megawatts to a frac guy for
pull
2 hours,
for
and
that
then it goes right back out, right? So it's very similar to that entire. And I don't know, this is an IT podcast, tech podcast, if people know about EFRAC.
No, it's actually been a pretty good. They've learned quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have.
I would say for a lot of our listener base, what other verticals are you guys helping out as well? Because for our conversation, we've been very data center centric, EFRAC history. But what other verticals can agriculture and other things that you guys are kind of working in and helping out with?
So we work in mining and construction. So if you think about construction, like a remote construction site that's not powered to the grid,
Right.
you're operating tons of heavy equipment, but if you're running a crane, giant crane for a new building, you run up, pull power, then you stop. And so we'll manage those load variants on that for big construction sites. Mining similar. You got a massive truck, you run it down a hole, you dig, and then you don't use those components for a while, right? You do some major movement, real high demand pull, and then it goes to zero. Anything in that realm is where we operate. So mining, heavy construction, and oil and gas are really the big ones.
Right.
And then power gen was just a natural segue.
Sure. Yeah, exactly.
So in this room, what are you looking when there's 400 or 500 people in here? Your top 15 people you want to talk to. What are you telling these guys?
So it depends on the person, right?
Okay.
If it's a potential customer.
And let me set the tone for the audience here. You have the large public E&P companies here. You have private E&P or companies. You've got the frac companies. You've got some drilling contractors. You have every finance person in the world is here. So there's a range of people to speak to. So if out of that group of people, who are you speaking to, and what are you telling them?
Primarily the folks that are looking to become power as a service company folks, or that are already in that business, and speaking to them about how they're going to hit their growth targets, whether or not they want to be OEM-agnostic, and what the benefit of our technology is.
So real quick, I don't mean to cut you off, but so for instance, Solaris is like the ideal client. Just when they go from 1.4 to when they're like, we need that 1.7 because that's an ideal client.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw Kyle
So Kyle's
last
great.
night at the happy hour, and I made sure to track him down.
Everybody likes Kyle. He's a smart guy, knows what he's talking about.
Yep.
And they're growing.
And they're growing.
Yep. And
I'm sure, by the way, everybody's hunting them down for something because they are a growing company.
yeah, no, it's incredible what they've done.
It's
over there.
incredible.
I
It
mean,
is. They're
from
awesome.
silos,
Correct.
like, to hold sand.
For what they're doing.
Yeah, to power.
It
It's
absolutely
incredible.
is.
Like,
I agree with that.
That is a testament to their management. And
Bill, and they've done an awesome job.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. And moved quick, very nimble. On the investor side, we are 100% founder owned, and so there's no outsiders in right now.
Okay.
And we're looking for the right partners. Anyone that sees the vision, understands what we're doing, and wants to become a part of the journey with us. After the spin out from ProFrac, we're giving up control. We don't want to give up control, so it's the right investor base.
Sure.
It wouldn't
Good
be
partners.
Not normal private equity, right? Private equity normally wants control, so we want more family office type people.
You want a good financial partner is what it sounds like.
Or a corporate partner. Or someone who is growing, but they don't need us 100%, but they could have an advantage of us being part of investing in us. So they see our technology, they deploy it, they understand it, and they're invested. We've seen a lot of companies do that in the past, where you become a natural target for them in the future.
Yep.
Or they just grow with you. Just like Baker and their AI investment, right? That worked out really well from them. I think initially, I haven't followed it since. Was it C3 maybe, something like that?
I can tell you, we just got back from their conference. What was the name of it?
They renamed it.
Yeah, they did.
The commercial name.
Dang
but
it,
it's
Brian.
But I mean, that was such a huge part of it.
And it was the whole segment over there.
Yeah.
They put like $100 million in, and they IPO'd it for like $4 billion.
By the way, it's crushing for them. Correct.
Yeah.
It is
And
the
it was
brains
just-
behind every application
Oh
that
my
they're
gosh,
deploying.
I feel terrible
so
because
that's
we
where
studied
see
these
corporate
guys.
partners helping us, right? They say, I'd love to be invested just so I can grow with you and understand what you do. And maybe later you're an acquisition target, maybe you're not. So we look at those folks as really good partners as well.
Okay. Well, I mean, to be honest with you, you and I have talked. The problem with these conferences, you get 3 minutes with 200 people, right? And
I can do a lot of things really well in 3 minutes.
I can't. I can't remember what I need to. And your guys, it's funny. I look up where your location is. You're literally across the street from us in the Woodlands, Texas.
That is correct.
And it is. I understand what you guys do now. Other than how to pronounce your easiest product, I totally understand what you guys are doing. By the way, I think I'm getting a little screwed on that because you guys have the Heidi, the Sophia, like Genesys would make sense.
Yeah, like
Not really, but
Heidi
we'll go
is
with it.
actually Gene Sis.
Yeah. Oh, but not really. Yeah, I'm trying to make up for it, but
As
I would blame it on jet lag, but you only flew from Houston.
I'm tired. That's right. I am
Gene's
tired.
cousin. Gene's cousin is our
sister.
other product.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's clear you guys have something. It really is. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. And when I hear, especially the Solaris purchase yesterday,
Yeah.
That just crystallized everything.
it
I think,
does
for everybody. Right?
And because he said on stage, it's now 2 separate gen sets, and you're like, it's like, why doesn't Southwest use 2 different engines? You don't want that.
Exactly.
You
Yeah,
want a
it's
standardized
incredibly
product.
difficult. Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
So
With
now
that.
I can see where they would want to have the product to where you got to merge quickly and merge safely.
And Voltigrid was the same way. They all Caterpillar their entire existence and just placed a huge order with Jenbacher.
Yeah.
And I don't know any reason why that was.
It's got to be for capacity.
Capacity, supply chain, what it was, but it was, okay, no, we need this much capacity. Here's a guy that can provide it.
Listen, Caterpillar has to serve a lot of people as well.
Yeah.
They're a monster. I mean, they're great, but they've got to serve a lot of people. And if you're growing, it's almost prudent to have multiple suppliers, and you have to be somebody that can, you guys, that can be in the middle, that helps people's growth. It would almost be dangerous to have one supplier.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, even in frac you see that, right? Engine transmission combo is cat-cat. It is really highly sought after, but you don't want a fleet that's nothing but cat-cat, because if they don't have spare parts for you to manage your fleet, you got to pull in some Cummins, you got to pull in some other stuff, right? We've seen people have done in the past, but they hit, like Alamo, they hit a number of fleets and they sold out.
Yeah.
Because it's like, okay, we can't grow anymore because, we're not here at the top of the line with this one supplier.
I grew up with that guy, McKee, at Alamo.
Oh, did you really?
And he was just a nice guy, great dude. Builds it up, becomes a president.
Yeah.
You haven't seen that guy since.
That's
That's the great way to go. We were playing on trampoline. Now he's worth however much he's worth. And I'm like, hey man, congratulations. Like, see you later, Josh. Yeah. Don't call me.
No hablo.
Yeah, it's amazing. I can't believe how fast they built that company up and sold it.
Yeah,
Incredible.
Yeah, phenomenal. And with where we're at, this company, we don't think we would not like to be acquired. But the way we look at business, you build it for cash, you build it correctly, and then whatever happens, happens. Either you have a bunch of dividends, you spin out a bunch of cash, or someone says, hey, we got to take these guys out.
Well,
I think
feel
it's not going to be very long before we're having a follow-up
Doesn't
conversation.
it? It feels like they're on it.
Congratulating
I agree.
you
I feel like it was a good move for you to do this.
on the journey. So, it's there.
And you will see me again.
When I get rich, I'm getting all new friends. All new friends. Good luck getting a hold of me. Me and McKee, we're going to be hanging out. Just deny, delete, block.
My buddy Blake, who we had a annual hunting trip, and every year is all Wall Street guys, and buy side, sell side, one company, put it on, and you give your picks for the year, 2011. Blake says Bitcoin, and we're all like, what the hell are you talking about? And I haven't seen Blake in a decade.
Yeah.
He's somewhere in Dripping Springs on a ranch that like no one else can afford.
Great dude.
Yeah, great dude. I think he changed his last name.
Yeah, I got a friend of mine now. He doesn't know the difference between Tuesday and Saturday, so he's having a great time. So
it's awesome.
Well, listen, this is an awesome. Thank you for coming on the show
thank
today.
you. Appreciate it.
Is there anything else that we've left out that we want to make sure that?
How do people find you? How do people find you? How do people find the company?
Well, to find me is easily.
Your website, ekupd.com.
Yeah, and we're out of the Woodlands, and then our main engineering office is out of Stuttgart. So if you have any inclination, which is right by the Austrian border, gorgeous part of the country, so any inclination to go to Germany, we could gladly host you and walk you through there.
You said something earlier.
Maybe October timeframe.
I want to go back to where did they break the speed record? How were they a part of breaking a speed record?
It was actually a university project at University of Stuttgart.
Okay.
That's where the three founders met. Interestingly, Edward is from Venezuela. He's the E in EKU. Leo Uriona is the U in EKU. He's Bolivian. And Manuel Klein, the K in EKU, is German. And three of them met at the University of Stuttgart.
Okay.
So the two South Americans went to Stuttgart because of German engineering, because they were like they're like the smartest people in their country.
They are, and
these guys are so incredibly smart. Like, I used to think I was smart, and I met them. I'm like, oh man. I have to call my mom. I'm like, I'm a disappointment. These guys are so smart.
Yeah.
And so they did a university project, University of Stuttgart, and I think Bosch is out of Stuttgart, so helped sponsor it.
Wow.
And they set a world record. And it goes back and forth between now a university in Switzerland did like 0 to 60 in I think 0.98 seconds.
Holy cow. That is just...
It's insane.
That's like a bullet.
Their world record was 1.4 or 1.3 seconds.
Oh, so they
a decade ago. And then each year, I guess...
It's a car.
It keeps getting better. Yeah, it's an electric car. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. How does it even just keep up the rubber on the ground? Okay.
That rubber doesn't touch the ground. They actually
It's
put
just-
airflow to... It almost
just
floats
moved.
it to...
Wow.
So when the motor hits, you don't spin.
That's what I would think.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It's pretty insane. It's German engineering.
German
right?
engineering.
American engineering, we're quick, we're nimble.
Yeah.
German engineering is right.
Right.
I work for a German company. They do it right over there.
Yeah.
Well, Brian, honestly, thank you for your time today. Richard, anything we need
Appreciate
to...
it. No, I think we got everything covered.
Yeah.
It was very efficient today.
It was great. No, this went longer than you
awesome.
think it did. This was over almost 40 minutes.
Was it
Close
really?
to 45 minutes, yeah.
Didn't feel like it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Dude,
Thank you,
great
sir.
time.
Appreciate it.
Look us up on our social,
Thanks.
all of our socials on LinkedIn and any of the social media channels we're on, your favorite podcast channel. If you have any complaints, send those to Richard. If you have anything that goes great, send that to me. Thank you very much, Brian Uhlmer. You're a friend, and truly, if you go look him up on CNBC, he's more famous than we are.
Yeah.
Richard.
I speak with my hands a lot on CNBC. But remember, the Baker Howell call was 100% accurate.
Nice. Okay.
That was one of my CNBC calls. Everyone's thought I was crazy.
What year was that?
Oh, it had to be.
That's the $5 billion.
It had to be 15, somewhere around there.
Oh, I know.
When Halliburton was buying
exactly
Baker.
what you're talking about. Yes.
And I went and said the deal's going to blow up, but Baker's stock's going to go up after, and then GE's going to buy them.
And boom, boom, boom.
Because all the hedge funds were like, nope, if Hal breaks the deal, Baker's stock's going down. I was like, nope, it's going up. And I went on TV and said it. I was right, and I made no money.
Thank you, brother.